Okay, so here's the fun part, if you will. Now that we have actually deployed our cloud resource, let's go actually use our cloud resource. In this case, the item that we deployed was a Jenkins instance that we're using for the workshop that basically is pre-configured to run some automated tests. Feel free to use the Jenkins instance to do other things and tweak it out if you wanted to. Totally fine, not a problem. We have our detailed information here. This particular instance was exposed publicly as opposed to getting put behind a load balancer or anything along those lines. But we have our host name and we have our primary DNS name. So if we just take our primary DNS name, I'm going to highlight that and copy it. In order to connect to this particular Jenkins instance, you'll need to open a new tab, http:// the host name that you just copied, and we're going to go to port 8080. So add :8080 to the end of the URL there and hit enter. Jenkins comes back. That's a good sign. We get prompted for username and password. Again, as part of this offering, we've pre-configured Jenkins as part of that private AMI that was used in the aggregated offering. So our username here is going to be GLG auto test with the password that is provided to you in class. If I can type it. Go ahead and sign in to Jenkins. Those of you familiar with Jenkins obviously may already understand everything that's going on here, but for those that are not familiar, I'll do a kind of a quick run through. So this is our Jenkins dashboard. This particular Jenkins instance has been configured with one project called WebDriver Test. And we can see that here just on our dashboard. So if we drill into that project, this particular project was a Maven project that was created. There's also an Eclipse client available that we could use here as well to execute these tests, but from a Jenkins perspective, here we are. We can see that the last successful build was 12 days ago, which is when we're probably doing our test builds of this thing. But all we want to do at this point is just build now. And we can see that we kick off a new build over here on the left-hand side. To drill into the details of what's going on with that build, we can click the number that's associated with it, in this case number 4, and we can go take a look. It's grabbing some information. It says that it hasn't started yet. I personally am always interested in the console output, so I'll go to the console output tab. So we can see now that it's actually started to run, who it was started as and what's executing here. Obviously, if this Jenkins instance was deployed, and one could configure automation to automatically kick off these jobs with relative ease with an Ansible script or even just a curl call effectively if you wanted to. Lots of different ways. But here we can see that the test itself is being executed and is being processed. Running the test suite. So we'll just wait for this to finish up to see the success. So success here is going to be just wait to finish. There we go. If we see build success and finish success, that basically means that the job completed successfully. Those that are interested in more details of the results, we can see a test run. There was one test run, 0 failures, 0 errors, and 0 skips. So that implies then that we had a successful test in essence. Showcasing here that Jenkins can be used, just as part of the pipeline to build as part of the infrastructure if need be. So everything, can be leveraged in that capacity. If you wanted to edit the build information, you can edit the build information, and do that. You can go back to the project. You can tweak things out if you wanted to. If you wanted to configure this project, you absolutely could to change things up in here as well in order to just change things. On the server itself, there is an RDP client available, and if you RDP remote desktop into that same host, you'll actually be challenged for username and password. If you use the same username and password you use to log into Jenkins, you should be able to connect into that host if you wanted to go play with the actual source code being leveraged on the host that's being used. And if you have questions about that, just feel free to reach out, and we'll be more than happy to help you walk through any of that. But you can see you have full Jenkins deployment here to leverage and utilize.